113. The lowest place. Presence of God. O Jesus, you who said, "The Son of Man is not come to be ministered unto, but to minister." Mt 20:28. Teach me to love the lowest place. Meditation. Jesus has proved to us not only in words, but also by example, that he came not to be ministered unto but to minister. This example he gave on the eve of his passion, as if to leave it to us as a testament, together with his last and most precious instructions. Before instituting the Holy Eucharist, Jesus, like a common slave, began to wash the feet of the disciples, and when he had finished, said, "I have given you an example, that as I have done to you, so you do also. For the servant is not greater than his Lord, neither is the apostle greater than he that sent him." John 13:15.16. The instruction is clear. To be true disciples of Jesus, we must humble ourselves as he did. Note that here it is not only a question of humbling ourselves before God, but also before our neighbor. To consider ourselves servants in our relations with God is not difficult, but to do so in dealing with others will call for real effort. It is harder still to let ourselves be treated like servants, without any attention or consideration, and even by those who are our inferiors. Yet Jesus, infinitely superior to all, willed to be treated not only as a servant, but as a slave, and even as a malefactor. Just as humility makes us recognize our place of inferiority and absolute dependence before God, so too does it assign us to the lowest place in relation to our neighbor. Quota you, because you love the uppermost seats in the synagogues. Luke 11:43, said Jesus to the Pharisees, condemning their desire for the first places, for honorable duties and positions, and he added, "When thou art invited, go, sit down in the lowest place." Luke 14:10. As far as we are able, wherever we are, we must seek the last place, doing so with such simplicity and naturalness that no one who notices us will come and invite us to go up to the first place. We must expect that invitation only from God, and not in this life, but in the next. 2. At the Last Supper, Jesus wanted to give the apostles a further lesson in humility. While they were arguing about which of them should be considered the greater, he warned them, "He that is the greater among you, let him become as the younger, and he that is the leader, as he that serveth, since I also am in the midst of you as he that serveth." Luke 22:26.27. Whenever Jesus speaks of our relations with our neighbor, he always insists that each of us should take the place of him who ministers, considering himself the servant of the others. When he showed them a little child as a model of perfection, he said, "If any man desire to be first, he shall be the last of all, and the minister of all." Luke 9:34. This teaching he repeated when he put his disciples on guard, lest they imitate the proud attitude of the Pharisees. "He that is the greatest among you shall be your servant." Mt 23:11. The idea is clear for those who follow Christ. The privileged place of honor is that of servant, and the Divine Master insists that those who occupy important positions must be the most zealous to become the servants of all. If we hold some authority, we must remember that it has been given not to honor us, but for the service of others. If we are not elevated above the common level, we should do nothing to exalt ourselves to a prominent position. Finally, if our status is an inferior one, we should occupy it gladly, never attempting to leave it. By assigning us to a lowly position, God Himself has taken care to make us practice humility, and this is one of the greatest graces He has given us. Let us try to correspond to it by exercising this virtue faithfully. "The only thing for which you will not be envied," said Saint Therese of the Child Jesus, "is the lowest place. Therefore, the lowest place is the only one where there is no vanity and affliction of spirit." See Colloquy. O Lord, when you were a pilgrim here below, you said, "Learn of me, for I am meek and humble of heart, and you will find rest for your souls." My soul finds its rest in seeing you, the powerful monarch of the heavens, clothed in the form and nature of a slave, humbling yourself to wash the feet of your apostles. Then I recall the words you spoke to teach me how to practice humility. I have given you an example, that as I have done to you, so you do also. The servant is not greater than his Lord. If you know these things, you shall be blessed if you do them. John 13:15-17. With the help of your grace, O Lord, I understand these words which came from your gentle, humble heart, and with the help of your grace I wish to put them into practice. I want to abase myself humbly, and submit my will to others, not contradicting them, nor asking if they have the right to give me orders. No one had this right over you, and yet you were obedient, not only to the Blessed Virgin and Saint Joseph, but even to your executioners. O Lord, you could not humble yourself any more in order to teach me humility. That is why I want to respond to your love by putting myself in the lowest place, and by sharing your humiliations, so as to be able to share the kingdom of heaven with you hereafter. I beg you, divine Jesus, send me a humiliation every time I try to put myself above others. But Lord, do you know my weakness? Every morning I make a resolution to practice humility, and every evening I acknowledge that I still have many failures. I am tempted to be discouraged by this, but I know that discouragement also has its source in pride. That is why I prefer to put my trust in you alone, O my God. Since you are all-powerful, deign to create in my soul the virtue for which I long. TCJ